Families hurt after a thoughtless crime leave hundreds of headstones desecrated. Where police are in the investigation and whether this can be considered a hate crime. Plus, we are just one day away from Memorial Day. We'll give you a look at how veterans are being honored across the bi-state.
And some of us woke up to wet pavement overnight around St. Louis. I'll tell you if we could see more storms today. And I'm tracking record heat into Monday.
Today in St. Louis's #1 morning newscast.
A lot of you probably woke up in the middle of the night to this lightning and hail clanging its way through the bi-state. That's what happened to our weekday TISL producers. Yep, they were up bright and early, Corey and Chantal. They both sent us video of storms making their way through this morning, and we're hearing reports of damage also from both U-City and Maplewood.
Yeah, we did have some isolated pockets of some damaging winds. We saw some trees down in a few of those areas, and that looked like where the strongest part of the storm was. We even had some hail too. The weirdest part was it was just one storm, and it was basically just on top of St. Louis.
Yes.
Everybody else was quiet overnight. So
wow.
It was a very, very isolated situation. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint when those will pop up. And it's going to be kind of the case again for today.
And it didn't leave anything cooler, right?
No. So it really didn't help us
off.
a whole lot. We did get a lot of rain from it. We got more than an inch.
Wow.
But we are going to be tracking that heat and humidity. So anything that we do get is going to be really isolated, kind of like what we saw last night. Pop-up storms possible late this afternoon. We're going to be okay here for the early part of the day and into the lunch hour. More organized rain, though, is better. A better chance of that for next week. Right now, most of us are in the upper 70s and lower 80s. It's already starting to feel even hotter with the heat index. It feels like 87 already in Chesterfield with that humidity. Feeling like 84 in Farmington and at Scott Air Force Base. The heat index 86 already. Air temperature today going to make it up into the mid 90s, which is close to record levels, especially in St. Louis. Our record high today is 93. Forecast 94, and that's what I'm expecting across the area lakes. If you're heading out this afternoon, make sure you've got the sunscreen, plenty of water, and be aware there could be a pop-up storm. But the water temperatures across the area already in the 70s and 80s, so very comfortable. I am going to be tracking more rain moving in by the middle of the week thanks to a post-tropical storm. We will be tracking that here in a few minutes.
And the next time you're woken up in the middle of the night by storms, make sure you have the 5 on Your Side app. You can get all the latest weather updates there on your screen. Just search KSDK in the App Store. So if you're planning to go to the Schlafly Art Outside Festival today, it's been canceled. Organizers and artists are cleaning up after those spot storms. Our crews found a lot of tents knocked over. We're not sure how much was damaged or lost as a result. Schlafly is encouraging everyone to check out the artists featured at the festival online to learn how you can support them. If that means you're now looking for new plans, be sure to head to KSDK.com. You can find links to the Art Outside vendors and other events. Just go to the main page and look for the top Memorial Day weekend events. Just into our newsroom this morning, a man has died from his injuries after he was involved in a crash in South County. Happened last night at around 8 near Telegraph and Barrack Views roads. That man was 79 years old. St. Louis County Police tell us he had been driving his motorized scooter when he was hit by a minivan. And they also tell us the driver of the minivan is okay and is cooperating with police. Now for an update to an incredible story. We are learning more about a fire that trapped a young boy inside his home and how his grandfather tried to save him. Terry Poindexter lives right next door and saw the whole scary situation unfold at around 4 a.m. Saturday near Enright and Kings Highway. She says the grandfather, Charles, had already rescued 2 of his grandkids, but he couldn't make it back in for 10-year-old Deshawn. Firefighters were able to pull him out, but he was unresponsive.
I was hollering and screaming and crying, saying, oh Lord, please help him.
Deshawn's family says he is in critical condition and is not able to breathe on his own, but crews were able to feel his pulse after efforts to revive him. They're asking that everyone join in their prayers for his recovery. There have been a few fires in the bi-state this weekend, including one still under investigation in Belleville. Happened just before 1 Saturday morning near Virginia and East Main Street. Thankfully, no one was hurt. But there were 6 other fires in Belleville just within a 24-hour period. There was also a 911 call for a car fire on West Main and 2 kitchen fires that could have been prevented. Crews tell us the cause of those kitchen fires was unattended cooking. And just a reminder to please keep an eye on your stoves or ovens this weekend, especially if you're hosting any Memorial Day barbecues. A man is in custody this morning after Edwardsville and Glen Carbon police say he spray painted swastikas all over graves and homes yesterday. It made for an upsetting surprise when families arrived at the Sunset Hill Cemetery to find the damage. 5 on Your Side's Rachel Menitoff spoke to one family who just wants to know why this happened.
It's a sacred space.
This is my mother-in-law, Norma Zenik.
An eternal resting place for our loved ones who have passed on.
We used to go to the Lake of the Ozarks, and that's where we really had our one-on-one talks.
This is where Norma Zenik is buried.
Sweet lady, really sweet lady, do anything for you.
When her daughter-in-law Sharon heard that someone had been up to no good,
We just needed to come and see for ourselves.
when they got to Sunset Hill Cemetery in Glen Carbon, Illinois, Norma's gravestone and those of nearly 200 other families were desecrated, spray painted with swastikas.
How can you have that much hate in your heart?
The ground superintendent and the rest of the team spent hours using a special metal stripper to remove this offensive ink.
I mean, I've seen some of the things in St. Louis where they were tipping over the stones. None of this makes sense to me.
The silver lining in all of this, by the end of the day, most all of the damaged headstones had been repaired, including that of Ms. Norma Zenik. But it was certainly an emotional day and an uncertain one for those people who have mothers, fathers, siblings, and in-laws buried here.
Why? I'd want to know why. Why would you do this? Why would you do this to all these stones? This is terrible.
Rachel Menitoff, 5 on Your Side.
Police were able to catch the suspected vandal, and thanks to many of you who called in with tips about this. Now, at this point, all we know is that he is 34 years old. We expect to learn more after police file official charges. As we mentioned earlier, the cemetery wasn't the only place hit. At least 7 homes were hit by the same vandalism at Sunset Hills Estates. Police told us yesterday that this vandalism will result in a felony because of the amount of damage. And because of the swastikas, we reached out to the Anti-Defamation League to find out if this would be considered a hate crime. The regional director tells us the ADL announced in 2010 that the swastika without context is just vandalism. It doesn't appear this man targeted a large Jewish community or specific Jewish graves, so it does not appear to be a hate crime, but police could still decide that it is. In Ellisville, a warmly received tribute is back for the holiday weekend. Each year, Steve Tate puts hundreds of American flags on his lawn to honor fallen heroes. This year, there's around 800 altogether. While supporting those lost in battle, Tate says his goal is to combat division in society today.
I want to do this to commemorate those that have fallen, those that have served, but primarily those that have fallen. They gave the ultimate sacrifice so I can wear a shirt like this.
And it's a team effort. Tate and his family spent the last week or so getting things ready, but people passing the house also dropped off extra flags and donations to help. And the Scouts will be paying similar tribute at Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery today. They'll decorate each of those 150,000 graves with an American flag. Here's video from some of the festivities last year. You're welcome to join them at 12:30 this afternoon as they march to the main flagpole and honor our fallen service members. 21 World War II and Korean War veterans will have quite a story to tell this Memorial Day. They just came off a whirlwind Saturday in the nation's capital. They traveled to D.C. for an honor flight and spent the day touring memorials built to honor their service. Those on the trip tell us a group of boys even lined up to shake each and every one of their hands. We talked with 2 brothers right after they got back.
It was just unbelievable how great everybody was and how we were treated. And you've seen how we came into the airport this evening and they were lined up on both sides of the aisle. And it was great.
And those 2 brothers had 3 other members of their family in the service. From all of us here at 5 on Your Side, We thank you sincerely for your service.
Abby Augustus A. Army. Akarizi Edward F. Army. Adams Elmo Jr. Marine Corps. Abbott.
As you enjoy this holiday this weekend, it is important to remember the true meaning behind Memorial Day. Volunteers have been honoring the veterans we celebrate this weekend since Friday night. They are reading the names of more than the 36,000 service members in the Korean War. And we are honored here at 5 on Your Side to be teaming up with Schnucks to help the families of service members through Folds of Honor. It's an organization that raises money to send the spouses and children of fallen and injured service members to college. Schnucks Roundup at the register is happening right now at all Schnucks locations. So when you pay for your groceries, you can round up that total and all proceeds will go to Folds of Honor. You have until July 3rd to donate. 10 minutes after 9, and coming up on Today in St. Louis, the American flight industry back in the headlines for a brawl in the skies, the exchange that started the fight. Plus, if you absolutely need your caffeine after the long holiday weekend, Starbucks won't be filling your cup of joe on Tuesday. And a Russian athlete just got an adorable gift with a deeper meaning behind this puppy.